here we are.
Hello, everybody.
Due to a multitude of technical difficulties, we will be reading a script off of this amazing teleprompter. So I'm sorry that you won't have our eye line the whole night. But I think I can speak for both of us when I say I never thought we'd be doing this for a 5th year. This is year number 5. Something significant about that, we've had on average over 50 games each of those years, which means the Byte-Off has produced over 250 games for the Nintendo Entertainment System. That's cool. That's like a third of the actual number of games that were produced for the system, just from Byte-Off alone. That's super exciting.
Every year, the entries inspire us so much, and we love seeing new voices contribute to the game experience on what was, for some of us, our earliest gaming system.
But you know, with all the timely debate about the inherent elements of our creativity, our sense of play, there are certain aspects of great game making that are universal no matter what form they take. And in those passions, those epiphanies, those daydreams made real, this game development contest and consequently this award show is here to celebrate.
The theme this year was Find the Reason. And that speaks to solving the mystery of our own drive to create. None of these games here tonight would be here if their creators didn't find a reason to see it through.
Thank you for making these things a reality and giving us a chance to see your unique perspective on gaming and to appreciate the amazing variety of new experiences still possible on a game console that's nearing 40 years old.
So what are some of the universal elements we celebrate every year? Not in order of importance, but in the order we've contrived for the purposes of this award show, they are these.
Best character. Sometimes it begins with a character doodled, perhaps on a book cover, a napkin, inside of a homework folder.
A recognizable silhouette, something to differentiate them from anything we've seen before.
A well-designed character can have a lasting impact long beyond mechanics of a particular game. They can be an ambassador for an entire line of games. And we've seen that take shape this year as characters that we can't forget take their place in the ranks of the new guard of NES heroes, villains, and everything in between.
The characters in every game had their charms, but it wouldn't be an award show if we didn't name a winner. So, our judge for best character is an actor, a director, a software engineer, a sound designer, a former game designer, programmer, but especially pertinent.
He is the creator of one particular gaming icon, Q*bert. Here to introduce you to this year's best character is Warren Davis.
Hi everybody, Warren Davis here, best known as the designer programmer of the original Q*bert arcade game. And I am here to announce the winner of the best character category in this year's Byte-Off. I was looking for things like how a character looks, obviously, but also what kind of personality it has through its animations. And I have to say I was very impressed with everything I saw. So congratulations to all. But there were a few that stood out for me. One I liked was 13 Hollow Road, the main character in that. Very cool guy. He had a flat top, wore sunglasses and a suit, black and white character. Really like that character. I also love the character design of Backwards Quest. The Purple Warrior, very, very cool design. But there can only be one winner, and in this case, the winner is Detective Nosferatu. I say I love the blending of Nosferatu the vampire with a detective. Thought that was very cool. He had a personality to his walk. I'm a sucker for vampires, what can I say? I actually did like that, so congratulations, Detective Nosferatu, and again, to all the participants.
Hopefully that's the last of our technical difficulties, but somehow the way this night's been going, I don't think it will be. Stay tuned to find out more. All right, a great musical theme can tell you as much about the characters as what 3 colors make up their sprites or how many pixels high they are. Game music is a direct line to the mood of the piece. It tells you if you're seeing something funny, something ominous, something adventurous, something peaceful.
Chiptune music has its own technical challenges and limitations, as anyone who has created it will attest. But a musician with a great ear for melody can make an instrumentation with 2 square waves, a triangle wave, and a noise channel that could rival a symphony orchestra. Here to present the award for Best Music is Tony Corelli.
Hey, I'm Tony Corelli at the Deep End Recording Studio in Baltimore, Maryland, and I've been playing Byte-Off games for hours listening for best music. So I heard so many great theme songs. Necro Nancy had a great song. Mariana Sequence had good music throughout. I really liked Godspeed Extended. That was very well done, really stood out to me. But I was told I can only pick one winner, and I think Echoes of Elysium was very effective. I was looking for music that was engaging, that brought me into the story, that was well done, that sounded fine to listen to repeatedly. Award goes to that game and its composer. Congrats.
All right. On to a category that's close to your heart.
Yes. One of my personal favorite categories, Best Game Art. What does it take to create great game art? An ability to engage the eye with depth cues, to make flat things seem dimensional, a sense of color to make them clear and fun to look at, an imagination and a sense of the world we know observed in some detail, and how those observations can be used to suggest mechanics that are as fun to play with as they are fun to look at. Willing to take up the unenviable task of judging this category is a game and film animator whose credits include EA, Blizzard, DreamWorks, Riot, Lucasfilm, and Irrational Games.
Not only that, he is a NESmaker user himself. Here to recognize the achievements of all our game artists, but also to announce the winner is Pete Paquette.
It was an honor and a privilege to be asked to judge this year's Byte-Off Challenge in the category of Best Art. In this category, I look for solid drawing, which is believable drawings that showcase weight, balance, and volume. Appeal, which is subject matter that is both charming and charismatic, and stylized character animation. The Mariana sequence impressed me with the smoothest walk cycle I have ever seen on the NES. I also was very impressed by the solid drawing showcased in the Backwards Quest. But this year's winner, who hit all the marks, is Necro Nancy. Congratulations.
Great game art.
We're both storytellers,
Yes.
as evidenced by the lead up to all of these fantastic award shows. And so I really appreciate narrative. I tend to be very long-winded when it comes to my narrative, and with an S, you don't have that ability, right?
Not even a little. Games can suggest narrative with the simplest of elements. They can enrich those elements with a deep and engrossing plot.
The winner of Best Narrative has to synthesize both the game medium and the requirements of the story to intrigue us to explore and see the people in the story through their trials.
It takes more effort for a player to reach the end of your game story than it does for them to watch a movie or even read a book. You actively try to prevent them from reaching the end. Who better to tell us which game had the most engaging and suggestive narrative than a professional game writer whose credits include titles such as Fable, Control, Anna McGill.
Hey everyone, I'm Anna McGill. I'm a game writer, and I had the absolute privilege to judge Best Narrative in this year's Byte-Off competition. I played so many outstanding games. It was really hard to pick some winners. I was looking for cohesion between narrative and gameplay and for compelling stories, and you all delivered. It was really impressive. But first, I want to give an honorable mention to Backwards Quest. I loved the premise of this game. I loved the conceit of telling a story in reverse so you can understand why you've done this terrible thing. It was just really cleverly done. Nice work there, truly. My runner-up is Hold the Light. This game came very, very close to winning. I just wasn't expecting a story this poignant in a competition like this. The story about the mother's dementia and her fading memories hit really close to home, and it moved me deeply. And that narrative framing completely transformed the gameplay for me. I felt desperate to keep that flame alive and keep my mother with me. And that context made me very invested in playing the game and trying to win. So it's a real testament to the power of your story and to the transformative power of narrative. But the winner for me was the Mariana sequence. The setup was intriguing. The choices were fun. Am I undead? Did I wake up in a graveyard? I kept going and playing because I wanted to know more. I was hooked. I was very invested. Why was I in the woods with these throwing knives? That is odd. Who is this mysterious interrogator? I loved all of that. The mystery pulled me along. I loved how the game responded to my actions. There were a few times I thought I'd messed up, but then my death got accounted for and folded back into the narrative, and it was just really nicely done. Like, good work. Congratulations, you deserved this win. And congrats to the runners-up and to everyone who participated. I was incredibly impressed by your work.
We're up to audience choice now, and we've heard from experts and professionals in the field. Now we arrive at the award players give. In the days leading up to this award show, players have been testing new games on the Retroverse website and voting for their favorites.
It's not an award you win without making a game lots of people actually want to play. We've tallied the votes, and the award for audience choice goes to
Hold the Light.
We know what you're thinking. If only there was an award that recognized presentation and logo design, branding and advertising collateral, because sometimes that's as much to do with the game's appeal and success in finding an audience as any other aspect of the design.
We asked you to see the package, and you did show us your package.
You're the one who named it that. There's no sense in complaining about what people show you.
Here to weigh and measure is an expert on packages, game design packages.
He's a content creator on YouTube, Twitch, and social media. He's a voice actor, published author, game developer, and publisher, John Riggs.
Hey, how are you feeling? You got John Riggs here judging the best package. You stop. A lot of great games this year. I always look forward to this event specifically. A lot of great games, a lot of great talent, especially for the NES. And when it comes to the best package, it doesn't just mean like, just the items that are included in the game, but just like, how it's presented, how people can find it. It's the first impression to get into the game. If I had to choose one, and unfortunately being a judge means you literally have to choose one. And I could talk about, I can tell you every great thing about all of the games that were presented today. My pick for best package goes to Detective Nosferatu. Detective Nosferatu, it's just, I love that when a game doesn't take itself too seriously, and they have fun with it, and the trailer for it. And the game itself is great too, so nothing against that. This is just the best presentation to get you to want to check out the game. And when I see something like Detective Nosferatu and what they did for that, I was like, okay, I definitely need more information about this. These guys know how to have fun. The team knows what's going on when it comes to attracting an audience, and that's my pick. Thanks for having me.
Ordinarily, I would vehemently deny that the game was rigged, but clearly it is.
It's rigged. It's a rigged game.
They rigged it.
So we want to bring up Dale Coop for this one. I think Dale Coop does more for the community than I'm able to do. It's amazing how much he does. One of the most powerful things about designing a game for this 35-year-old children's toy is the ability to bring parents and children together in a common activity they both enjoy.
I'm a cartoonist today in part because my grandfather liked to read the Sunday Funnies with me. I can still hear his laugh when I'm drawing, or the way he'd explain a joke that was over my head.
Shared passions can be an incredible bonding experience that shape the future of families, of careers, of legacies as parents pass down their ethics of work and play and kids revel in their first taste of seeing their daydreams come true.
The Emissary Award recognizes an intergenerational team from the NESmaker community that exemplifies this idea of passing down the passion for game creation and of taking it up.
Here to present the award is pillar of the NESmaker community and progenitor of many programming breakthroughs for developers of all ages. You know him as Dale Hoop.
All games this year was really impressive. It was really difficult to choose only one winner for the best emissary, but first I want to give a shout out to my runner. This game made by Dennis and his son. Yes, he has an amazing atmosphere and really great graphics. And I was very impressed by the work the team put in the game. But because I need to choose only one game, so really one stood out for me. And it got very cute graphics and intense challenges, and everything just feels really polished. So the winner of the best emissary is Tweak 2. Yeah, big congrats to them, to the team. It's to Frederick and his daughter. They're really talented and yeah, very good team, very nice people, and they made a really great game. So you have to really try. And of course, I want to say congrats to everyone who submitted a game this year, because it was not really easy to do, and everybody made a fantastic job. Thank you.
The wombat. Weird name, weird category. Bear with us. In our time on the road, we go through a lot of airports. The great thing about an airport is you're never the weirdest person there. Unless you're us. We're the weirdest.
That's why we have to be the ones to judge this category, because no one knows what it takes to do something outrageous, technically surprising, perhaps a little crazy in this particular software than we do. We know a wombat when we see one. This year there were a number of brilliantly batty entries that blew us away, but the most baffling, the most gobsmacking, the most deserving of the title of the weirdest thing we saw all year. Okay, and I'm gonna step back from script for a second and talk a little bit about my experience with this game, because some of you guys know that I've been teaching classes and I've been teaching young kids from the age of 7 years old all the way up to 60 years old how to make NES games out of a studio in Rhode Island. This game was such a teachable moment for so many reasons, because a lot of times our students will go through the motions and they'll do a tutorial and they'll reskin a tutorial and it'll be very familiar, right? What I loved about this game was everything from the treatment of the font on the start screen all the way through the absolutely gorgeous cutscenes to the heartstrings of the narrative, to the fact that the game was allegorical. It had familiar mechanics, but they were just different enough. These are the reasons why I thought that this game, it wasn't that it did something so outrageous and so surprising and like nothing we've ever seen before. No, we've probably seen all of this before, but the way it was combined was absolutely evocative and brilliant. And that's why this year, I award this year's Wombat to Hold the Light.
Congratulations. Next time you're in an airport, you might be the weirdest person there. Unless we're also in the same airport. We're still the weirdest.
Okay, it is that time. We've seen every level, defeated every boss. Now it's time for the final battle, the big one, Best Game Award.
Many are deserving, but only one can win. Here to present the biggest fight of them all,
We have officially come to the end of this year's Byte-Off Awards. Our been very impressed with this year's entries. Each category saw a deserving winning game. While it was difficult to choose, when considering an amalgam of character, music, art, narrative, audience affinity, and uniqueness, one game stood out above the rest. The winner of Best Game for this year's Byte-Off is Backwards Quest. Congratulations to all contestants, and I look forward to seeing each of these games move